Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hey everyone, Simon here. Just kind of want to say hi. Look, the light is kind of bad here. I have my Shiba Shelter shirt on, and here at the PK place in Bali, I'm going to turn the camera off, but just want to say hi. So I just watched the awesome March 11th update with Vince. And a big shout out and thank you to Vince for what he did. In fact, I haven't even got done with it, but I'm so excited. I wanted to share some insights based on Vince's class. And so the first of those is that, well, first of all, the class is included in the email, so you guys can watch it. I know not everybody made it. There were, I think, about 30 people or so, or maybe 40, I don't know. My first thought, so let me actually share my screen here, was that there's some very interesting news, and I'm going to take a screenshot because I do not have the chart for XPRT persistence. There was a question about XPRT, and Vince very correctly pointed out that the chart has the ruler of the ascendant combust. And what that typically means in the chart of a person is that they become unseen or lack self-confidence. Now, and that is true. And in the chart, in a Prashna chart, in a question chart, having the ruler of the ascendant combust is the strongest indicator of a no answer. So if the person says, will I get married? Lagna Lord combust, no, you will not get married because you will not be seen, right? No one's going to notice you. Will I win the lottery? No, right? Now, if a thief asks the question, will I steal the Mona Lisa? And the Lagna Lord is combust and participates in some yogas. Yes, you will, because you will go unseen. So for most things, except, if you're a thief asking about cases where being unseen will be a good thing, the answer is going to be a negative. However, in a birth chart, the Lagna Lord debilitated is not a liability forever. And now, those of you who are not astrologers, just bear with me here a little bit. So we have the ruler of the ascendant who is double exaggerated. It is exalted and combust, which means this thing has tremendous hype or potential and tremendous disappointment at the same time. And of course, if you've bought this, unless you bought it the moment it was recommended by Michelle White Dove, when it was about $3, it shot up very quickly to about $15. So most people, myself included, bought at 15, then 10, and then 7, and you kind of bought it on the way down. And now it's back down to $3, which means it's had a pretty depressing run. And at the time when this was recommended by Michelle White Dove, to whom I know a lot of you subscribe, people asked me, have you done the chart? And I said, no, I don't do the chart when it's other people who have that insight. I just trust their insight. So, so now that we do have a chart, I do want to comment and just dive into it a little bit because I think this has promise. So to reiterate, if it's a Prashna chart, meaning the chart of a question, a combust ruler of the ascendant is very bad. It's almost always going to be a negative answer. But in the chart of a person, like Oprah Winfrey, for example, has a combust Venus in the 6th house. I think it's in the 6th, actually, I'm not sure. And that participates in a wealth combination, as this one does. It's a ruler of the 5th and, ruler of the 1st and ruler of the 11th together. Then that potential for wealth is not obstructed. What is obstructed is the living being associated. So this thing does go unseen, yes. The CEO or the president is perhaps not very visible. They're not out there in the world, which is kind of the case. I've reached out to Tushar a number of times. He doesn't want to come talk to us. And yet at the same time, the ruler of the ascendant is exalted, which means he's very knowledgeable. He's, very up, he's a higher up in a sense. So both things can be true. A thing can be combust, meaning shy and, reticent about the public eye, and also very qualified. In fact, perhaps even overly qualified. So then what's the bottom line? The bottom line is the chart does have potential, in my opinion. It just happens to be running a terrible period. So it's running Jupiter K2. K2 is in the second house. And so it has a malefic in the second house, but more importantly, it's in the star of a yogi. It's in Mercury's star. So K2 is not going to give anything good. And it is exalted there, but so there can be a pump, but that pump won't last. However, as you can see here, it's about to start Jupiter Venus, November of 2022. So this is mucho interesante, guys. Jupiter Venus is the period of two benefics, number one. Venus, number two, as I said, participates in powerful money combination. And number three, Venus is the ruler of the ascendant. So it's always good to run the ruler of the ascendant because that is when this thing is going to get recognition. Furthermore, Venus and Jupiter are in a decent relationship to each other, 311. They're not 6-8 or 212, so they'll try to cooperate. And finally, the final thing is the part of fortune for this thing, using the night formula, not the day formula, is at about 8 degrees here. From moon to the sun, -8, that means 6 houses. Yeah, so about 8 degrees, which means Jupiter in the sky is going to transit not only Venus, but the yogi point. Sorry, not the yogi point, the part of fortune. He'll transit the part of fortune first. And so all of next year and 2023, Jupiter will be crossing these points. Very bullish. Now, in fact, he'll be crossing the part of fortune May, June of this year. So you actually don't have to wait till 2023, which is when I think the bigger pump for XPRT will be. But there should be a pump in May, probably along with Bitcoin's pump, which we're expecting. So this is all good news for XPRT. And I think those of you who bought, like me, guys, I'm a degenerate, just like most other people in crypto. Like I ape into stuff because someone says something. So I bought it $15, and I'm hoping to at least make that back. Now, of course, I'm staking the XPRT, so it's earning 35% interest. So I have more, than when I bought, which is good. And think of it this way, crypto is a game of patience. So if you bought in the summer of last year or late last year, and this thing doesn't pump until, say, November, December of this year, well, then you've held for a year, and that's going to save you buco money on taxes as well. Because if you're in the United States and you sell a crypto less than a year of holding, you pay short-term capital gains instead of long-term. So that's one little tiny advantage. I mean, sure, if something goes 10x in 2 months and you sell it, you don't care about the taxes because you've just made 10x. But that's a little something that could help. The other thing is that most crypto gains take time. And to that point, that brings me to the next point here, which is wrong and right picks. In early 2021, we made a number of picks, some of them popular, like things like Polygon, which other people were looking at, and some not so popular, like Hot Chain and Chiliz and Pala Network, that even to this day, a lot of people, Pundi, for example, Pundi did remarkably well. Nobody knew about these. But we found them and we called them early. But for example, Luna, guys, we bought Luna in the pennies. Our intro price was 40 cents. And even at $4, I was buying Luna because I was very, very bullish on this coin. However, if you look at Luna, it went up to $18. So it did a nice 4 or 5x. If you bought, let's say you bought it $4, not 40 cents, when I first called it, I believe. This, and by the way, I did not make the spreadsheet. This was made for me. Thank you, Laura, for making the spreadsheet. And this is based on the first class where we mentioned Luna and all these other coins. But let's say you didn't buy it 40 cents, you bought it $4. You would have had to wait until now, basically. Luna just hit its all-time high at over $100. I guess in December it hit close to 100, but so you would have had to wait about a year for this thing to really show its full potential. So crypto is a game of waiting. Now, having said that, I perhaps more than anyone else am deeply aware of my own failures and the coins that I said would do well and that haven't done well. Things like VeChain, which we thought would go to $1, Noya, SNX, Energy Web, etc. When I look at those charts, look, I was just flat wrong about a lot of these. But when I look at charts like this, like if we look at VeChain, where's VeChain? Sorry, just look at this really here. You can probably see it. I can't see. Oh, there it is, VET. When we look at VeChain, even though it didn't get to $1, we still bought it at 2 cents. And it 15x, now it's back to, I don't know how much it is. It's not, this isn't a current sheet, so it's probably less than this. So we're still up on VeChain, but did it reach the promise that we thought? No, it did not. So we were wrong about that. We were wrong probably on twice as many coins as we were right. We were wrong on many, many coins. The point is that if you're gonna celebrate, you should also acknowledge your losses. If you're gonna, tell someone, oh, you're losing, or then you should also acknowledge their wins. Anyone should have a fair and balanced assessment of themselves as well as other people in the business. So when I say that, XBRT hasn't done well, I say that in the context that Michelle White Dove has picked some really good coins as well that have done well. But the point is that patience is usually rewarded. So even when she picked Theta back in 2017 or 2018, you had to wait a couple years before that had its run, right? So, if, what did we pick up Theta at? We first looked at Theta at 25 cents. Now I liked it then, but I wasn't super enthusiastic. I wasn't like, you must get, like with Luna, I was telling you, guys, you have to get Luna, absolutely. With Theta, it was like, yeah, it's a good chart and it'll probably run next year. So with me, when I saw Theta at 25 cents, I actually didn't buy it because I remember the chart said, well, this thing is going to run next year. And I'm talking, this was 2020, I think we saw it. And of course it did run, but then I forgot about it. So I didn't get into Theta until it was like $2-3, basically at today's prices. But Michelle White Dove's people got into it in the pennies, and to their credit. However, you had to wait. You have to be patient. So does that mean these picks won't get to where we think they're going? Well, maybe VeChain will hit $1, but it may be later than sooner. Energy Web, I think, still has potential, and so forth. But for now, these are losers. Because if you weren't here in January of 2021 and you heard me say VeChain is a great, token and it's going to go to $1 and you bought it at, 28 cents, it's lost money for you. And that's on me, right? Because I did say, I think it'll reach $1, and it hasn't, as well as a number of others. The point here is to understand that when we're looking at crypto, number one thing is you have to have patience. Number two, you have to understand allocation size. Unless, I am like all in on something, and so are the other people you trust, people who do TA and, fundamental analysis and all that, then you can put more money into it. But otherwise, make small bets. Believe it or not, most of the money that I've made in this field has been through small bets. Whenever I bet big on something, I usually lose because it's a sign of FOMO. I mean, I just put a couple $1,000 into Celsius, a couple thousand into, Luna, a couple thousand into this, and they, if something 100x's, that's pretty damn good. So, so what is the point? The point is that number one, you have to have patience. Number two, please be careful of your allocation size. Don't trust anything anyone says, myself included, 100%. So when I say I think XPRT is going to go up in 2023, yeah, that's based on the chart. But what happens is oftentimes we don't have the right chart, which is why I do prashnas. In fact, I've even done a prashna will XPRT hit $20. And I don't know, like right now, my astrology, like I said, Ketu and Rahu are on a sensitive point in my chart. There's a planetary war in the sky. I'm not excited about doing Jyotishas, but I still ask the questions for some reason. But this is the question chart. It does suggest there are some good things and some difficult things here. This just happens to be up. But my point is, we often do not have the right chart. For example, I don't think we have the right chart for Cardano. I don't think I have the right chart for a number of other coins. And I say that because it's not me who has researched these charts. That's why I value what Vince and Laura are doing, because they're actually going in, especially Vince. I know he spent probably hundreds of hours by now researching these charts. And so I'm going to be relying on people like this who do the research. I simply don't have time to research the charts. So when I saw the XPRT chart, I was overjoyed in the class, because now I can with more confidence look and go, okay, I understand why this thing is not doing well. It's running a K2 period. Are you kidding me? Okay, so what if it's exalted in the second? It's not aspected by any benefic. In fact, it's aspected by a malefic. No bueno. But the moment it starts Jupiter Venus, this thing is going to run. In fact, I think it's going to have a mini run when Jupiter transits here in May, June. So, so I do have hopes for this, and I do think Michelle Whitelove's prediction will eventually come true, that this thing will be big. But it won't be until Jupiter Venus. Okay. So kudos to her for picking what I think will be a strong coin. It's just that it hasn't been yet. And that's understandable. The timing is, we all have our gifts. I'm off on, like, for example, I predicted Bitcoin would hit 50K by the first week of March. It did not. What it did is it had a nice run. And so I predicted this when Bitcoin was 37. It went up to 45. That's an 8. That's one of the biggest candles in Bitcoin's history, but it didn't get to 50. So it's hard to predict the quantum, sometimes the quantum of a run, and sometimes the timing of the run. But it doesn't mean we're 100% wrong. Like we got the fact that it would run, missed the fact that the final figure. And sometimes we nail the figure, right? We nail it exactly, but the timing is off. So, it's a tricky thing. It's a tricky job. My point is to give a sort of a fair assessment of performance, and having given a fair assessment, to look ahead to see what is likely to happen in the future. So if you're into asymmetric bets and you like this idea of having these 100Xs and more, sorry, I keep pulling this up. Things like going from 40 cents to, well, Luna now it's not 32 bucks, it's almost $100, right? So that's a huge run. If you like this idea, then definitely check into the Discord Elite group. It's free. It's part of your membership in our class, and it's the way I'm hoping to serve you guys, to bring you more of these opportunities, and more of them will come in the future. Now, one of those that we had last year was the Tune Coin, and Tune Coin, I'm very excited. We're having meetings now, and we're moving forward with trying to put this to market. Again, everyone who invested in Tune Coin, you have to have patience. We're not expecting anything to come out at least between May and October of this year. So those are the dates we originally had kind of set. So it looks like, so that's what we're aiming for. Now, with Tune Coin, Chris has agreed to hire full-time Telegram and Twitter experts, people who will who will post on Twitter, who will run surveys, who will run, contests, who will post tweets, who will answer questions on Telegram, who will run groups to answer questions. So if you're interested, shoot me an email. In fact, you can shoot Chris an email too, but include me on it. And yeah, just let us know, and what your qualifications are and so forth. You'll be paid the compensation. We haven't worked out yet, but it'll be partly actually in Tune Coin, so you're incentivized, to help it grow, and partly cash. So yeah, so we're looking for one, maybe two social media people to help this thing explode once it runs. Of course, all of us in the CQA group are in on this as a pre-ICO. If you didn't get a chance to, there will be another opportunity before we go live. So don't worry that you missed out. There'll be another kind of secondary opportunity. It won't be at the same price that the original people got in on, but it'll still be likely below, the ICO. So, and again, a $500 bet, if it 100Xs, you've made 50,000 bucks. So small asymmetric bets can have massive upside. If you put 500 bucks in each of these and lost them, well, you're only down about 2,000. But if you put 500 in one that, 50 or 100Xs, then you've more than made up for that. That's the idea behind asymmetric bets. Not all of them are going to win. In fact, maybe most of them are going to either go down or stay the same. But even if a few of them, 10 or 50 or 100X, you've more than made up for the losers. So that's a little bit on Tune Coin. We're on track. We're making progress. It's exciting. And we'll share more with you when we get to it. Finally, and definitely last but definitely not least, is a project that is from one of our own. And in fact, it's from the children of one of our own CQA members who are just bloody brilliant. And I think this has great potential. This is called Born to Whale. And just want to make sure I'm sharing my screen. Yeah, I think I am. It's a cute, thoughtful, well thought out NFT project that is made by, I believe, a 9-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 6-year-old. And there they are, 13-year-old, sorry, 6.6-year-old, and a 10-year-old. And just to give you an idea of how clever, how innovative, there is a game involved, which is a shoot 'em up game. Okay, so there's a game involved. There is a very clever YouTube video that
There once was an art put out to sea, born to whale the NFT. The bulls charge hard, the badge called down, oh well, my crypto friends well. Soon may the traders come.
So very innovative. I love this project, and I wish them all success. And I think it has very little attention from the world right now. So if you're interested, go to borntowhale.com. We will have them, we're going to do an interview with them, bring them on the program so they can tell us more about the project. So I look forward to that in the near future. In the meantime, check out these links here in the presentation. So that's it for now, guys. I'm going to go back to finishing this class because I'm only up until 43 minutes. So I'm going to watch it again, watch the rest of it rather. And I just wanted to come in with this insight on XPRT that there is actually hope and potential here. Also, let's see, let's summarize. May looks bullish, as is 2023. To understand that there are going to be some bad picks. Why do picks go bad? Sometimes we have the wrong chart. Sometimes we miss something in the right chart. And it doesn't, it's like medicine. Doctors sometimes get wrong diagnoses. It just happens. It happens to me, happens to TA people, it happens to psychics, it happens to all of us. And so do your own, certainly do your own research and get a second opinion. Then asymmetric bets and allocation size is the way to fight against wrong predictions, right? Have a small allocation in many little things and you won't be disappointed. You'll be able to sleep better at night. Check out our elite Discord group. There are opportunities coming almost on a weekly basis, or let's say every bi-weekly basis. And soon it'll be even more often. TuneCoin, told you about that. Check out Born to Whale. That's it out of me, guys. Thank you so much, and enjoy the class and the video, and we'll see you next week. Namaste, everyone.